Once again, a warm welcome from me to all of you. It is a great pleasure to have you all join with us today in our IICON 2020 e-conference. We have a panel of speakers from different facets of profession that we could ever imagine. Our first guest is the Deputy Inspector General of Police in Tiruchirappalli, India. With 17 years of experience in law and order, he has great expertise in the field that he works in. He's very passionate about fighting crimes against women and children, rehabilitation of juvenile delinquents and cyber crimes, and some of his outstanding career accomplishments range from eradicating illicit liquor from many villages in Vellore between 2006 and 2009. And currently, he's being socially engaged in the fight against COVID-19 with all of us. So let's join our hands to welcome Mr. Balakrishnan Velaiah.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Divya. Thank you, Raghavi. So we're all going through an extraordinary situation in the history of mankind, and I think everybody will agree with me when I say that. And Raghavi, can you hear me clearly?
If you can raise your voice a little more, it will be audible, sir.
Okay, right. So all of you will agree with me that we are going through an extraordinary situation in the history of humankind. And 3-4 months back, nobody would have even imagined that the life will be so different to each one of us. And when the life is so different for each one of us, we can imagine how difficult, how different it is for the people with disabilities, differently abled people. I would like to start my presentation with an example, with an instance which was reported in my range a couple of weeks back. A pregnant, visually challenged lady was subjected to domestic violence by her husband, and that was reported to the police through an NGO. And the initial information was that the lady was just 7 months old pregnancy. She was in 7 months old pregnancy, and she was brought to the home. The NGO runs a home, and she was brought to the home. My inspector in civil dress went to the home and started inquiring about what had happened. And then it was a clear case of domestic violence. And when we medically examined her, she was almost at the peak of her pregnancy. She was not a 7-month-old pregnancy, but at the peak of her pregnancy. And in the next couple of days, the baby was delivered to a cesarean operation with the help of the NGO, and the police inspector, of course, was there also. And then subsequently, the baby was also named by the superintendent of police of Pudukkottai district. And now they are living in the home happily, at least without any problem of domestic violence. I think this epitomizes the kind of problems that people with disabilities face at this moment, COVID-19. The response from police side, especially in Trichy range, has been on 2 accounts. Number 1 is to target the poverty. You may wonder whether it is the police job to do that. And the second aspect is the violence aspect, violence against people with disabilities. And there are plenty of literature to show that violence and poverty are interrelated. You can't eliminate poverty without eliminating violence, and the other way is also right. So police basically respond in eliminating both these things as far as possible. initially we basically listed out the number of disabled people living alone. Though all the disabled people need special attention, we initially wanted to take care of the people with disabilities who live alone. We have more than 200 people with physically challenged people and more than 100 mentally challenged people in our list. And then we appointed nodal officers from the police side for each district. One DSP level officer was appointed as the nodal officer, under whom more than 100 volunteers and 88 police personnel were exclusively assigned to the task of taking care of them. They all visited the people with disabilities at their home, had a chat with them, found out their difficulties, requirements, and then we try to address the issues in whatever possible, at whatever possible level. It was basically providing food in some cases, dry ration, medical attention in many cases. More than 30 people required medical attention, and the people in association, in coordination with the district administration arranged all those medical facilities, medical needs of those people, and then creation of awareness about the maintenance of physical hygiene and the hygiene around them. In fact, wherever the police officers visited, the face mask and hand sanitizers were distributed to them, and they were impressed upon the necessity to maintain physical hygiene, personal hygiene to fight this COVID-19 virus. In fact, the volunteers have done this work for the first time. They do not have any previous experience, because volunteering in general is not an organized service sector in India, unlike in Western countries. Whereas when it comes to volunteering with the people with the disabilities, it is totally a new area. Even for police, it was completely new area. Of course, much before the onset of COVID-19, in Trichy range, in all the 5 districts in Trichy range, Trichy, Pudukottai, Karur, Ariyalur, Perambalur, we in fact nominated an inspector at each district to closely monitor the cases involving people with disabilities. When I say cases involving people with disabilities, basically we listed out the cases in which, or the complaints in which, people with disability are the victims, or in some cases, the complaints are against the people with disabilities. Both the dimensions of the crime need equal attention, because sometimes, in fact, on many occasions, people with disability are falsely implicated in cases, and then law is unjustly enforced on them. As a result, they suffer immense difficulty. So both dimensions of the crime was interested with the inspector level officer at the district, and we gave special importance to the sexual offences against women and children with disability. The idea was, first of all, to prevent such offences by creating awareness. Secondly, to ensure conviction in cases where the people with disability were subjected to sexual abuses. So This we did much before the onset of COVID, and in fact, we listed out the people, the police personnel who are interested in learning the sign language to enable them to deal with the people with the disabilities more effectively. In fact, you would wonder to know around 120 police personnel in 5 districts expressed their voluntary interest in learning the sign languages, and the classes were started for them. In fact, it is to enable the police personnel, first of all, to sensitize, create awareness, and also to improve their, build their capacity to respond to the requirements of the people with the disabilities. In fact, we prepared a do's and don'ts for the police personnel when it comes to dealing with the people with the disabilities. When a physically challenged person visits a police station, what kind of things we should positively ask the victim, and what kind of questions, what kind of responses, what kind of conversations we should not have with the people with the disabilities. Those do's and don'ts were prepared in Tamil and circulated to all of them. And in fact, we listed out the police personnel who are insensitive or who are ignorant about the needs of the physically challenged people, and trained them exclusively to bring a behavioral change while dealing with the people with the disabilities. So much before the onset of COVID, we initiated these tests, and in fact, I should say that it came in handy to deal with the, to help the to interact with the people with the disabilities during this extraordinary situation in the history. Now, during this Corona period, in fact, as I said, we approached the problem from two angles: poverty and elimination of poverty and violence, especially the domestic violence, where we listed out the number of cases, number of complaints we received in the last 3 years period, and we voluntarily contacted all those victims, in which many of them are women with disabilities and children with disabilities. We contacted them voluntarily over phone. We called it as a phone up program, and we earmarked 15 teams headed by 15 inspectors to do this job. There were 12,000 such victims, who complained in the last 3 years, in which more than 100 of them are in the category of people with women and children with disabilities. So we contacted them. If the victim doesn't pick up the call, we called on a different time till we were able to reach out to the victim directly. If the victim doesn't pick up the phone, the officer visited their home, of course, taking all precautions of personal safety. They visited their houses, talked to them, and in many cases, counseling was instantly done, and in few cases, we took action as well against the perpetrators, against the continuing domestic violence. Some of the calls we received reported new kind of violence against the people with disabilities in particular, and in some cases, there was a continuing sense of domestic violence against women and children with disabilities. So during the COVID, this was our primary focus, giving them dry rations and the medical help. Of course, when we give them food or dry ration, I feel little bad. In fact, I shared this with my friend Deepak also on one occasion. See, we talk about, when we talk about the human rights, especially when it comes to the vulnerable sections of the society, we talk about the self-respect. That is a basic tenet of our human rights. But when it comes to the people with the disabilities, they are forced to, they are most of the time forced to not bother about the self-respect, which is a major failure of our society. And when we give food and ration to them, and when they receive it, I try to empathize with them. What kind of psychological status I would have been if I am forced to receive food and rations from somebody. The person who gives, maybe giving out of kindness or sympathy, but the person who receives goes through a tremendous the turbulence of self-respect. Ideally, that is not the kind of situation we want. That is why this conclave is rightly focusing on empowerment of disabled people during disaster situations like this. So, at least in future, we should have definite plan to assist the people or to take care of the people with disabilities without denting their self-respect. That is very important. Then the second thing I observed during this COVID response from the police, though we tried our level best to make it as an inclusive response, but simple things like even hand sanitizer, we kept hand sanitizers, pedal operated hand sanitizers in police stations and offices recently. When I looked at it, I realized that it is definitely not disabled friendly. We failed to include their concerns at the time of designing this. In fact, there is no understanding at the engineering level to think about the inclusive requirement of inclusiveness of designing products to take care of the physically challenged people. The another thing, even the PPE, personal protection equipment, there is no scheme to include physically challenged people or other kinds of people with disabilities while designing the PPE. Then, of course, as I already said, experience in police and the volunteers in dealing with the people with disabilities. So, all these point to the fact that there is a lot of training to So this is what, in nutshell, the police response, what the police response has been, and what is required to be done. I would like to conclude my presentation with a quote from Martin Luther King when he addressed millions of blacks in front of Abraham Lincoln Square, that we are given a bad check in the promissory note in the form of bad check that they promises to the black people in America. But unfortunately, the check has been issued without sufficient funds. That is what I kind of visualize in this kind of situation when it comes to dealing with these people with disability. We have responded in bits and pieces, but it has not been holistic, it has not been inclusive. For that, we should include this concept of inclusive planning with, by addressing the concerns of people with disabilities at the planning level and response level. Thank you very much, Ravi, any question is put to me, I'm ready to answer.
Hi, happy morning to all. This is Pushpa from Headway. Participants interested to ask questions, please raise your hands. Yes, sir, we got a question from a participant. They are asking a personal question through personal chat. This is about what are the ways to improve social distancing in public places, sir?
Yeah. So first of all, I would like to call it as physical distancing rather than social distancing. So when we say social distancing, it conveys a different meaning. So I would prefer to call it as physical distancing. Physical distance, maintenance of physical distancing in public places is one of the important requirements to um, overcome this COVID-19 problem successfully. And when it comes to people with disabilities, this is one of the most difficult problem because in most cases they may need help, and it is extremely difficult to maintain physical distance for the people with disabilities because they are accompanied by the people who assist them or help them. It is more important as most of the public places are still disabled unfriendly. So maintaining physical distancing is extremely difficult, but if we maintain physical hygiene in the form of washing our hands frequently, using hand sanitizer, using masks, probably to some extent we can overcome this problem. When it comes to other public, there is no alternative. The 6 feet distance has to be maintained, and we from police side, in fact, listed out all the shops in 5 days, and we are enforcing physical distancing by the way of voluntary complaints from the shop owners, and if they are voluntarily not complying, we are telling them to do that. If they are not doing that, we are taking action against them. So unless public cooperation, unless the understanding on the part of public, it will be extremely difficult to do that. Thank you.
Is there any other question? Mrs. Radha Ramesh has raised her hands. If you want to ask any question, this is the last question. For time constraints, we are closing this, and offline we can connect and get your answers. Radha Ramesh, if there is any question, you can immediately unmute yourself and ask.
Yeah. Sir, good morning, and really nice of you to know that from the police side, what are all the measures you are taking to understand people with disability. That is really nice. There is one set of people who there are high support and high restriction needs children with disabilities. Without a caretaker or without any support, the parents will not be able to take care of them. So what is the measure that you are taking to allow people to come to their house, do whatever is needed? They are all dependent on even day-to-day living, day-to-day activities support. So what is the measure you are taking from the police side to speed up the police permission or something for these people to support their activities of living?
Thank you very much for flagging this important concern. We have, from police side, we have earmarked volunteers, more than 100 volunteers we have earmarked, and they are helping the people with disabilities. But then the point you raised definitely needs more attention, and as you say, the people who want to be permitted to make their movement to their houses should be permitted. Now the movement is more liberal now. If there is any problem, they can immediately call up a 100 number, to tell the police if they face any problem. And from our side, proactively, I will also devise some system so that they don't face any problem at all. Thank you.
Thank you for your wonderful speech, sir. Let's move on to the next esteemed speaker.
Sir, I think during this juncture, I would, on behalf of everybody here, will have to give a big applause to the police fraternity, doctor fraternity, the sanitary workers fraternity, nurses fraternity, and every other worker who's been tremendously working towards this COVID. A big salute from all of us, sir. One last question from I'm sorry, one last question from the participants. People are not actually seeming to understand the problem, understand the seriousness. In case, on a quick note, what would you like to tell them? To stay safe, even though the lockdown is extending, but still certain things has been lifted up. There are many people here and there traveling around. So, what would you tell them on a little shorter answer, please?
Yeah. So what the people should understand is that it is a neo-normal situation now. The way of life is going to be different hereafter. The way of life is going to be, at least for next few months, the people should be wearing the mask, maintaining the physical distance, which is otherwise also very important. Though it is very difficult in a country like India, but it is very important. I would like to quote an incident. Like in the normal times, when you wait in the queue, or some people wait in the queue and others try to bypass the queue, you jump over one after another, one over other, and try to create a very unpleasant situation. And we should understand this is a wonderful opportunity given by COVID-19 to educate ourselves with the importance of maintaining physical distance, the personal hygiene. Spitting in public places should be completely stopped to maintain hygiene in the public places. And I have personally experienced that wearing of mask has reduced my susceptibility to cold. And most of the cold infections caused by the dust allergy will be prevented if you wear the mask. So there are several indirect and direct benefits if you maintain physical distancing, if you wear mask, and if you maintain personal hygiene by properly washing the hands. So many diseases can be prevented, and it is a wonderful opportunity to develop that habit and make it permanent.
Thank you so much, sir, once again. And I'm taking off from where Ragni ma'am left. We now know a perspective of a police officer on what kind of problems are going on outside and how the police force is also learning a lot of things such as sign languages to help the community and combat COVID-19. Thank you so much.